All right, today I have the honor of being with Logan Aldridge, a very highly accomplished adaptive athlete, and his resume is phenomenal, and we'll go over that in the podcast later. The stuff this dude has been able to accomplish will blow your mind. Stuff that most people with two arms can't do. This dude has rocked something like a 225-pound clean and jerk. You'd have to see that to believe it. But we're gonna go over today the best ways to gain strength and size as a hybrid athlete when you're really trying to compete in endurance-based events, which is a very big challenge for people. So we're gonna try to demystify that a little bit with 4 simple tenets that will point you in the right direction and really let you get after it. And I'm stoked. Let's get going.
Who says you can't have it all? You can be fast, you can run long, and you can lift heavy all in the same time. So we're gonna be hybrid athlete training here, learning from the best. Can't wait.
We have to be efficient and economize our time. We can't waste time and effort doing things that we don't absolutely need to do. So the biggest thing here is the ineffective warm-up. So going back to how to warm up the most effectively is my slow and flow part of my training system. So the warm-ups, rather than just doing a bunch of high speed, high reps just to get the heart rate up, we're gonna do very slow, deliberate, compound movements to prep the joints and the tissues in an effective way. So normally I like to start with like the biggest body parts, which is normally the legs, and the basic movement patterns, squat, hinge, lunge. So I just take care of those patterns, and then we can go over some of the smaller movements if need be, like internal, external rotation, abduction, adduction, and try to combine those with those movements. Perfect. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do here, let's move this out of the way real quick. Cannot wait for you to show people how you bench press, by the way. That's pretty cool.
Too dumb to quit, you know, put it away.
Okay, and just so we can maybe do it at the same time here. You stand on that one and just support. We're gonna come up on the balls of the feet here. You're gonna slowly squat down here. And then along the way, just hold it. Along the way, come back up slowly and try to find points of that range of motion that kind of hurt or are stiff or don't feel good. And what I do, I call it scrubbing, and you're gonna scrub the joint angle at that range of motion. Okay, and if you're real stiff, what I do is I ease down in it and I hold at least 3 different joint angles here at 15, 45, and 90, and just try to hold and find, because isometrics are a great way to prep the tissues of the nervous system. And then while I'm down here, there's your glutes are getting a decent stretch, and most of your quad muscles are, but there's one muscle that's not really getting stretched, and that's your rectus femoris, which is a very important muscle, especially for what you do, for your running and stuff. So from here, what I do is I push my knees to the ground and my hips forward, and then that's really gonna get that rectus femoris. And then I rock back slowly, stand up, and I just do a couple more of those. And that preps my squat movement for the slow.
Similar to what they call the Hindu squats?
Yeah, that's really similar. Yep. Oh, yeah. I don't invent anything, man. I just kind of pull from what other smarter people have already done. Take what fits me, and I leave what doesn't. And then just good stretch. Try to get the knees to the ground right there. And then back, and then up. I'm gonna shake it out a little bit.
It's everything. I love the knee over toes and everything.
Yeah.
Out there, strengthen this.
I love that, dude. I did a podcast with that dude too. Awesome, dude. Okay, next we're gonna go into, so that was the squat. So obviously our legs aren't fully prepped yet, right? But that was the squat portion. So now we're just gonna do a simple lunge. I like to do a walking lunge. Same concept, start here. Slight internal rotation with that lead leg, and then explore all the different joint angles. And then when you're down here, you're gonna shift the weight to the ball of the foot, come up and forward right into your next step. So notice we're not doing a ton of reps, going real fast. There you go. Now when you're down there, shift that knee forward, come up and forward into the next step. There you go. So you're getting the nervous system ready, you're prepping the tissues, finding your balance. Knee forward. Next step. Okay, now feet together. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna lunge backwards. Same thing, find your balance point. Good, and then load and push backward in one fluid motion into the next step. There you go, good. Yep. Good work. Good. Now we're just gonna prep the hinge pattern. Same thing. I like to do these dynamically. So like I'm working on my gait and I'm moving through space. I call it open system. So I'm having to interact with the ground. So step, B stance here. That'll open your hips up a little bit. I'll externally rotate this. Go down over this leg here, right into the next step. Sit back on that heel, stretch, and then you can go forward, a couple reps, and then we're gonna go backwards a couple reps. So all this stuff is taking a little longer just because I'm talking through it. But if you just do it on your own and roll through it, all of this would take just 2 or 3 minutes. There you go. And I'll sit back on that heel a little bit. There you go. And then the knee bend and stuff is kind of up to you in your own range of motion, what you're ready for at that time. Good job, man. So we're gonna go over like Cossack squats, and that's gonna get the adductors a little bit. And then we're just gonna do 1 push movement, 1 pull movement. And that's just a general slow prep. But of course, on your own, or if you have specific mobility needs, you're gonna wanna internally, externally rotate for shoulder health, do a lot of internal, external rotation for hip health. And in my app, I have a lot of those that I include in there. Just today, we're just gonna focus on the main thing so we can get to like the meat of the workout.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I was training you, we would identify specific needs that you have and like, hey, you have some internal, internal hip rotation limitations. So we're gonna do, pails and rails in order to like activate and open up some of those ranges of motion.
Right.
Stuff like that, so. But the last one, I don't know, you can do this too, is just Cossack squat here, rotate on the ball of the foot, turn the toe up if you want to get some of that medial hamstring muscle as well as the adductor magnus there. And just back and forth a couple times.
This is my go-to every day.
Yeah. A lot of people, when they warm up for their legs, especially, they fail to prep their adductors. And the adductors not only get injured easily, they also contribute a lot to your squat, especially like the adductor magnus. So you want to prep that, kind of get that turned on. The adductor magnus is a big contributor to hip extension as well as hip adduction.
I always found too is a great opportunity to assess some imbalances.
That's what it is.
You might be feeling.
It's exploration, finding what's tight, finding what you need to work on.
You kind of floss through, you find that sticky point, and you go, oh, okay, that's tighter than I thought.
That's exactly. So, there's a saying, speed, mass, dysfunction. And a lot of times in our workouts, force is made of 2 things, mass and acceleration. For our purposes here, mass is just weight, right? Because we're on Earth. Acceleration is the change in the rate of speed. So when people warm up, they do a pretty good job generally of controlling the mass or their weight, basically. They fail to account for acceleration or speed in that movement. So they do really high rep. And then they also, since it's so fast, their brain can't really pick up on like the actual movement limitations and movement pattern limitations that they're having. So my biggest thing when people prep is like slow it down and explore the movement pattern.
Yes, yes.
So I know we're gonna be crunched for time, but I'm gonna go over 1 push just because we gotta warm up for our workout too, right? We're gonna go over 1 push movement and 1 pull movement, and then we'll try to get going a little bit. Put this through your arm, and then I'll make the adjustments for you. Facing out this way.
Left arm?
Yeah. There you go. All right. Okay, now get into the push-up position with a hand on there. Yep. Okay, now, what I like to do, it's something called the 1-minute push-up, all right? Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna count real slow, 30 seconds on the way down. I'll count every 5. 5. 10. 15. 20. 25. 30, hold for 10. Good. Use those legs and hip flexors, use the abs. Okay, now slowly start to come up. Now pause there. Slowly come up. Pause there. Slowly come up. Pause there. And now you're really gonna start to focus on your abs and your serratus anterior. So you're gonna start to turtle back. So turtle back a little bit. Yes, right there. Now finish a little bit higher. Pause there. Now really push that shoulder blade forward in protraction, lock out, and then just hold that protraction using that serratus anterior. Squeeze the abs tight and take a break. That's it, man. So I know it sounds crazy, but I really do one minute push-up, and I feel like I'm about 80% of the way warmed up for my upper body. And then what I do is my first pushing movement, I just kind of go 60% of my max real slow and kind of doing the exploring the movement. And after that, I'm pretty much ready to go. So it doesn't take me an hour to get my chest and push muscles ready to go. Yeah. So a lot of people, when they do this, they do 20 push-ups quick.
Yeah.
You're not exploring the movement. You're not finding, sticking points or limitations or pattern disruptions. And you're not really prepping the nervous system at joint-specific angles, making sure that each part of that movement pattern is right. So slow it down. That's my main point.
Yes, people think that with the fast rep that they are priming the movement pattern.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is
So,
my CNS all familiar with.
But there is and that's the next thing is the flow where the speed will pick up and we do get into more CNS. Now I understand you can't separate tissues from the CNS, from the nervous system. I got it. This is prepping the nervous system. Right, yeah. But when, they take some of those Soviet techniques and stuff where there's really fast impulses and that's prepping the nervous system, yes, but there's a time for that. But let's prep the brain and the pattern first, and then we can start to speed up a little bit. And we're about to get into that. But if I hadn't been talking so much, all of this would have taken maybe 5 minutes of your workout.
Right.
Okay.
Maximizing the minutes. That's what everybody's looking for in the gym.
Maximize the minutes, especially as an endurance athlete. This is not your primary focus. Like, we have to understand you're an endurance athlete first, so you can't spend 6 hours a week building your muscles. You have to dedicate more time and energy to the thing that's gonna, butter your bread. So I just gotta set something up for the next one here. People that are really strong with their legs, when they hold a position at first, they shake.
I was here, my calves.
Yeah.
We were just here. I had like.
People think that's a sign of weakness. No, it's not. It's just your nervous system trying to turn on. Yeah. Okay, same thing here, man. We're gonna put that around the arm. It's the same concept. Now we're just doing a 1 minute row. Good. All right, start here. Shoulder blades fully protracted now, and the palm is supinated. So this works our internal rotation a little bit. Good. And now you're slowly gonna let yourself lean back. Good, even slower, even slower. Yep, there you go. Good. So we're gonna go over this in more of the shorts too, but if somebody has an injured arm or a limb, these are great techniques where you can still get some good training in and not be limited by whatever joint is your limiting factor at that one time. Now slowly start to let your palms supinate as you go down the other way. There you go. Yep. Good, and you can bend your knees a little bit if you feel like you're gonna slide. And if you have a training partner, kind of a trick here is you can just lean here, wedge your feet under theirs. Yeah. And just don't let go of that band. I'll dodge it. I'm pretty good. Okay, now what you're gonna do is let your shoulder blades fully protract. Good, and you'll get some of those extensors. Good. Yes, and now on the way up, you're gonna depress your shoulder blades a little bit, like shoulders away from your ears. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Start to tuck. There you go. Good, hold. Good. Now tuck those shoulder blades into those back pockets. Yep. Hold. Good job, man. And then that's, if you're gonna do vertical pulling today, we're probably gonna wanna do something from the kneeling. We might skip it today for time, but on your own workouts, if you're planning to do some pull downs, you're gonna wanna do that same thing, but from a kneeling position, so it's more vertical.
That's what I would typically do. I'd keep this one black, I'd put that yellow one up there.
Yeah.
I'd get down here and do this. Yes.
Let's knock it out, man. Let's knock it out. Yeah. And then here's how I like to grab bands too, if you've never done it. Yeah, all the way through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm an observational learner, trust me. That's all you do at one time. And I said, yep, got it.
That's perfect, man. Yep, there you go. Notice he's focusing on pulling with his shoulder blades and not his arms. Now, keeping his palm kind of neutral supinated is working more that transverse adduction or that adduction movement. And if he would supinate his palms, it'd be a little bit more shoulder flexion. So it's just whatever you want to work on that day. Yeah. And anybody that's never used bands, this stuff is way harder than it seems. So doing like a version of a scat pull up there. That's good.
That gets this so much more open and involved, and everything just turned on.
Hell yeah. All right, now, so that was the slow. So 15 minutes of video, like I said, because we're talking, but actual work, 5 to 10 minutes, man. You know? All right, so now we're gonna get into the flow. Now, the purpose of the flow is to prep the nervous system and prep the movement patterns, joint sequencing, to blend everything together. So movement patterns are joint sequences and movements blended together to form a pattern. You know, so like isolation movement is one movement, and a compound movement is a pattern of several isolated movements. I know that for you, that's common sense, right? But the purpose of this is to prep our nervous system, and we're gonna do that through easy impacts and blended movement patterns. So I like to use my flows, and one of the tenets for the flows is I like to do as much as I can ground-based, putting force through the ground and transferring it in a kinetic chain through my body. So that's all my flows are, is kinetic chain movement patterns. So for me, I'm gonna do something, and you can do this too, but we're gonna adjust it. I got like something special I use for my baseball players, I'm gonna use for you. So this is just an example of a flow pattern. So this is just the grappler. Notice I'm ground-based here, knife-edged, internal rotation first, hip moves first. So this is opened here, and then I close it off with a little transverse adduction here, and then back. So really simple pattern there. For you, let's try this. Let me see. Yep. There you go. And then grab both sides here. Yeah, there it is. And then knife edge through that foot. That's good. Yep. Internally rotate that knee. Move the hips first. Yep. Good. We're gonna go down. I'll just weigh more, man. It's easier for you. Okay. Think hip tension first. Now hip bone to me right there. Yep. So feel that tension form right there.
Yeah.
Now fist to me. So you're rotating, but you're moving in a straight line. So this moves in a straight line.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep, good. Now hips first. Now straight to here. Good, so a lot of people, they wanna move this around their body. No, your body rotates so this can go straight. Your body needs to rotate to create linear forces. There you go. When people look at the trajectory of a baseball, the baseball moves in a pretty much straight line, but in order to do that, we have to coil and rotate. Hips first. Yep, see that internal rotation he's working? One more. Good work. Okay, now I gotta play around with this for a little bit to get your other
I mean, are you telling me you don't hit a golf ball, dude? You would be driving.
mobility, bro. Nah, because of mobility. So my mobility's lacking. So how far you can hit a golf ball is how much force you can put in the ground, your skill at hitting a golf ball, and mobility, so you can apply force for longer. I'm missing skill and mobility, so I'm missing 2 out of 3. I can put a lot of force in the ground, so I can hit it kind of far, but so I gotta play around with this a little bit. So let me see this. Now, hold on, let me put it right here.
Oh.
Okay, now you're gonna turn a full circle. Yep, okay, there you go. Now come out to me. Okay, now try to use your hips to rotate that band. There you go, good. There you go. Good, now if you have a training partner, all I can do here, let me see that, pull into me. Good. Or if we want to take the time, you could hook a band up too.
I was just about to say.
Yeah, you could work that too. But even this band right here is helping to open up that shoulder capsule a little bit.
Yeah, feeling just having that tension here.
Yeah,
just helping floss that so well.
Yeah, so a lot of power lifters will do that to open up their shoulder capsule, but you can combine things here. There you go. No, try to hold it, push, good. There you go, good. You still have a lot of transverse adduction strength in that side. So, there you go, good, nice. One more, hips first, internal rotate. Yeah, there you go, feel that tension, do that anterior sling. Now push towards me. There it is, good. So this is a pretty common baseball movement. If you want more tension, you can either up the load or you can do this without a cable stack, because then that tension gets really high really fast. Okay, so now we're gonna get into some of the impact training. So I just start with pogo hops because they're simple. Just that impact. So you're gonna pretend, pogos are jumping without your muscles. All right, so you wanna just use the energy and the elasticity in your system. So rather than this, which is good too, you know what I mean? It's more like, so I always tell my kids, soft knees and pretend like you're trying to crush cans. Good, toes up, dorsal flex. Yeah, see that? Trying to crush cans. Yeah. And then we'll just do some forward, some back, some side to side. Pretty simple, you just play around with it. Good. Now, I don't know how comfortable you are with the speed drills, but one way to introduce speed drills is pogo, pop.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. Good, and don't let that knee coming up pull your hips down. Pull everything up at once. Yep, there it is. Yep. Good, rest, nice job. So another thing, if you want to prep the hamstrings, scissor. Good.
I've always done the ABCs.
Yeah?
These are, the scissors are weird.
Yeah, they're good for your anterior core, hip flexors. Oh yeah, like that. Good. So this is a place where you can put the A skips, the B skips, the C skips. They go in like kind of flow section. Right. Movement prep, neural prep, pattern prep, things like that. Yeah. And you know, you're a little bit older, maybe you're not at a point where you can do more of the intensive plyometrics like broad jumping and box jumping. Like I'm sure you can, but some people can't. Right. There is benefit to just this. These are called extensive plyometrics because you can do a lot of them, right, and you can do them frequently. There's a lot of benefit there, especially to our tissue health. Yes. So if you're temporarily injured and you think you want to get back to box jumping, broad jumping, start here and you can scale from there.
Building that strength through the amount of force production.
Yeah.
You're putting into the ground and back through the body. People sleep on those.
Exactly.
So often.
Exactly.
And that'll light you up.
Okay, so the first part of the 4 we already went over, and we showed you how to do that by going through the slow and the flow. And basically that's economize the time. Get yourself prepped in a way that's very effective, but doesn't take up more time and energy than you need. So if you're one of these people that feels like you need to spend 45 minutes warming up for every workout, you don't need to do that. Maybe reconsider how you're prepping yourself for your workouts by focusing on tissue prep and neural prep and patterning prep. And then, you know, that while that did take a long time, if you just roll through that, you can get all of that done in 10 to 15 minutes. You definitely can't skip it, but it doesn't need to take up your whole workout. So the next step we're going to get into is I understand fully that you can't and don't need to separate strength training from hypertrophy training. If you train for strength, there's going to be a good hypertrophy stimulus there. If you train for hypertrophy, you are going to get somewhat stronger. But for our purposes here, because we need to be so efficient, we can't afford to do something that's kind of good for both very often. So for me, since I'm not an endurance athlete, I don't have to worry about, I do that all the time. So I train in sets of 6, sets of 8, because for me, blending my strength training with my hypertrophy is very good. But for him, not so good. So even though he might want to change the way he looks to get more muscle, that doesn't mean he should train the way I train. And as trainers, we have to be aware of that, right? So first we need to focus on the tenets of strength training, which is high intensity. And we talked about high intensity. High intensity doesn't mean hard. It means at any one point, how closer to your max effort. So one set of 20 back squats can be extremely hard, but technically it's not very intense because there's very few times during that set where if you had to do more weight for any one rep, you couldn't do it. Whereas a 1 to 3 rep max is very intense, even though it's not nearly as hard as a set of 20. So first of all, get that straight in your mind. So when I speak about intensity, like a 400 meter run is extraordinarily hard. Technically, it's not very intense. It's moderately intense. A 1 mile run is extremely hard. It's not intense because at any point in that 1 mile run, if you're being chased by a bear, you could run faster for 5 to 10 seconds if you had to. So let's clarify that. So strength training is very intense, but it shouldn't be very hard, okay? And it needs to be very frequent. So what we're gonna do with our strength training is we're gonna divide that into 3 different sections, all right? We're gonna do total body lifts tend to work best with strength training because we're training movement patterns rather than body parts, right? And we're gonna divide it into easy work, moderate work, and hard work. And we're gonna do 3 different strategies for those, okay? So the easy days will be a 3 sets of 3 strategy. So a very low volume. You're staying about 80% of your 1 rep max, you're working on bar speed. The hard day, we're gonna work on our 6 rep APRE, and I'll discuss what that is in a second. And then our last set, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do broken sets, okay? To where you take a set that maybe you could get it for 4 reps, and by taking short breaks in the middle of that set, you're able to extend the amount of reps you're able to get to 6 reps, and that is the very intense day. So easy, moderate, hard. But the total volume we're gonna do for strength training is between 5 and 10 working sets per movement pattern per week, which is gonna blow some of you away, but that is the way to get stronger, especially as an endurance athlete when you don't have a bunch of energy to waste. All right, so we're gonna get into it right here. Okay, so for strength, we're only gonna focus on the big 3 movements: push, squat, hinge, okay? For strength. And we're gonna go easy, moderate, hard. So it's 3 and 3, so it works out pretty well that way, right? So every day you train, you're gonna pick one of those movements where you're gonna do the easy one the moderate one, and one the hard one, right? So we're gonna go over all 3, easy, moderate, hard, using the bench press as a demonstration of how you do each one. Okay, so we're gonna start with the easy one, the 3 sets of 3. So I know with this weight, you could probably get, 12 reps or something like that easy?
Oh yeah.
Okay, but you're only gonna do 3. You're just gonna focus on a really fast bar speed, and you're just gonna do 3 reps and rack it, okay? So we're focused on good quality concentric bar speed and movement pattern training. Okay. Because strength is a skill, remember. Pretty cool setup he's got here. And you'll notice that band, if you have an injured arm, it gets a lot of work, quality work on that offside too, because he's having to work that transverse adduction on that left side. So down under control, drive it up. 1, 2, 3, good, rack it. Now, that is a little bit light for him even for 3, so I might have you add like a 10-pound plate or something. All right, cool, so we're gonna take a break and then I'll set up some weight for you. All right, man, we're gonna try to get 6, okay? Good, rack it. Right, and I'm gonna spot you. Let's go 25, I'm gonna give you a spot. All right. So that is a technique you can use if so that's just variable resistance, all it is.
Yeah, that's cool. It's just the stimulus of having to add this point for stability than just grab it.
Yeah.
It's such a good.
Yeah. So I like to do that with my single arm dumbbell presses, and I can adjust it as I go through my set. And then so I make it really hard at first, and then as I get tired, I just ease off on the band. It's slide under so I get less tension, and then I can just let go of it to get a couple reps at the end.
Oh, crazy drop sets.
Yeah, so it's a drop set kind of deal. Okay, so the light day, it was 3 times 3, right? So you should leave the gym not feeling very fatigued from that movement pattern. But one of the cool things with that is you can superset those 3 sets of 3 with a different movement for this APR 6. So let's say you're doing 3 sets of 3 bench on that day, you can do APR 6 or APRE 6, which is just auto-regulated progressive resistance exercise, okay? Yeah. And I'll explain what that is. You can do that with your squat day, okay? So squat day would be APR 6, and bench day on that Monday, let's say, would be 3 by 3, okay? Yep. So the squat day would be your moderate day, but we're gonna use the bench press to demonstrate the APR 6. What the APR 6 is, you do a set of 10 with about 60% of your 1 rep max. So that's kind of your warm-up set, right? Yeah. You get the pattern in. You kind of did that to begin with, all right? Then you do a set of 6 at about 70% 1 rep max. So you leave a couple reps in reserve, right? That's your light working set. And then you're gonna do a set of 6 with the weight that you think 6 would be failure. So you're gonna have to establish your 1 rep max ahead of time, you know? So let's say your 1 rep max is 300 pounds. So you're gonna do between 80 and 85% of that 300 pounds, where you think you're gonna reach failure at 6, all right? Yep. And so, but you're gonna do as many as you can. you're not going to stop at 6. So if you were off or you're strong that day and you can get 8, we're going to use that number to determine the weight that we're going to use for our final set on that day.
I see.
And this is where it takes some diligence or some discipline, because if you, let's say your APRE is 6, and we know our strength fluctuates, right, for a lot of reasons. On that day, if you can only get 4, you have to be disciplined enough to back off on the weight for the last set. Okay, that's where a lot of people mess this up.
So our ego gets in the way.
So people think, well, if I get 10, I'm not tough enough to go up in weight. Most people are.
Right.
But it's like on that day, if I only get 4, they're not disciplined enough to back off on the weight on that day because their body or nervous system is not ready to train on that day. All right, so that's the auto-regulated part. Okay, you're not following. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is, this is an estimated 6 rep max for you with my spot. We're gonna take it to failure, and based on that, it's gonna determine what weight we use for our last set.
Okay.
Cool, so let's get set up. Okay, lift off on 3. 1, 2, 3. Drive. Good. 2 more. You got it. 2 more. 1 more. 1 more. 1 more. 1 more. 1 more. Good set. There it is, man. Good.
I'll tell you what, you're off by half a centimeter in that bar. Woo!
That was sweet. So that was actually perfect.
Folks, I know barbell, don't use clips. Use the one arm, use the clips.
That's right. So that was actually perfect. So you got 6 reps, 5 reps on your own. So the 6th one with a little bit of help. So that means on the last set, you would not change the weight at all. You would just do 1 more set at the same weight, trying to get 6 again, but stopping at 4 or 5 or whatever you stopped.
Okay.
If you got 8 to 12, you would up the weight 5 to 10 pounds, all right? If you were only able to get 3 to 4, you would lower the weight 5 to 10 pounds. But if you were way off, and let's say you get more than 12, like 13 plus, you would up the weight 10 to 15 pounds.
Wow, okay.
So that's how it's auto-regulated. And I know that's not perfect because it doesn't go by percentages of how strong you are, but it's a way that you can progress and you don't have to think through things. Like I got 13, I go up 10 to 15 pounds. Because I was way fucking off apparently on my 1 rep max, or I took some fucking methamphetamines on this day and I can get 13 all of a sudden.
Right, the whole thing is off. Yeah. But that's a cool way to get folks not so obsessed with the specific percentages and all that, and get in tune with the feel.
Yes.
From to get more of a mature athlete awareness of your body. Yeah. That's such a better approach, I think.
Yeah, I love APRE. It's not widely used because people get confused by it, but it's a really simple. Now, pure APRE is you have a 4 rep day, you have a 6 rep day, and you have a 10 rep day.
Right.
But I like to blend it because I like other ways to exercise too. So I like to just use my own version of that and plug it in the middle of the week. And that's my moderate intensity day. Now, that was a very hard set, right? So very intense. So, but you're only going to do 2 actual working sets on that movement pattern on that day. That's what's important to remember. And we're going to actually count it for 3 sets because we're going to count the set before that as well. So it's 3 working sets, and you're only going to do between 5 and 10 working sets a week. So, you know what I mean? So we did 3 on an easy day. We're going to do 3 more today. So that's 6. So on the last day, between 1 and 3 more sets, and that's it for the week for strength. So 10 working sets. That's where people get confused. They do way too much.
There. Yeah, people want to do 5 by 5, 3 days a week, and it's insane.
So that's the moderate day. So the easy day was 3 by 3. And there's no magic number there. If you want to do 5 by 3 or 2, whatever, man. But 3 by 3 is like good economy of time. And then this is the moderate day, believe it or not. And we're going to go over the hard day, and that is the cluster sets. So we're going to go over cluster sets or broken sets, but broken sets apply more to bodybuilding, but cluster sets, okay? All right. Okay, so we're talking about the second aspect here, which is how to train for strength as a hybrid athlete. And we're going to divide that, to recap, into easy days, moderate days, and hard days. The easy days is 3 by 3. The moderate day is that APRE 6. And the hard day is going to be 2 cluster sets. So there's different ways to do cluster sets. So the cool thing about a cluster set is your strength drops off quickly, partly because of ATP in the cells, right? Yep. So what it does is you break, let's say something you normally do for 6 reps, you break that into 3 sets of 2. And you're able to increase strength and bar speed because you're allowing ATP to regenerate mid-set. So you take short 20-second breaks in the middle of that cluster set. So one way to train for strength, though, is to take something you normally only able to get 4 times, which is this weight today because you're a little fatigued, all right? And you're going to do it for 6 reps, and you're going to do that by taking short 20-second breaks in between the sets, and that's a cluster set, okay? You don't want to employ this too much, but once a week, it's a pretty good strategy to break through plateaus.
Okay.
All right. Good, so we'll get the setup here. And it's going to get pretty fatiguing on that off arm, because on that off side, because you're going to have to hold it. Oh, yeah. All right. So it's going to be frustrating at first because you're going to get 2 reps and you know you can get more, but I'm going to make you rack it. I'm going to make you wait that 20 seconds. Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good bar speed for 2 reps. Drive. Good, 1 more. Good, rest. And now each breath is going to take about 4 seconds. So take 4 big diaphragmatic breaths, or 5 big breaths. And when you get done with that 5th one, grab the bar and I'll know you're ready to go again. The whole time your ATP is regenerating, you're getting some strength back. Good job. On 3. 1, 2, 3. 2 reps. It's good to have a spotter on these days. Drive. One more. Drive. Good. All right, 5 big breaths. Good. On 3. 1, 2, 3. And one more. Good set. Let's work.
Oh, yeah. Definitely spotter on those days, on those moments. Yeah, that breath is interesting.
So normally on those days you're gonna do about 2 sets. So we were a little off on weight there. So we probably could have gone up about 5 pounds.
Okay.
And so as your trainer, I would up 5 pounds, give you a nice long break, and we'd really push it on that last set. So like the last 2 reps, you'd be grinding and I'd be helping you out. All right, so that was the hard day. So how we structure that is you're gonna work the 3 main movement patterns 3 times a week. Every day, you're gonna do 1 stimulus for each movement pattern. You're just gonna rotate through the week. So like, let's just say day 1, your press pattern is 3 times 3. Your squat pattern is at APRE 6. Your hinge pattern would be the cluster sets. Rotate it. So the next time, push pattern would be the APRE 6. The squat pattern would be the 3x3. Yep. Did I mess that up? And hinge pattern would be the APRE 6. And then you rotate it through, right? So that is our strength training, right? Now, on these days, we're not just gonna strength train though. We're also gonna, after the strength training, we're gonna do our hypertrophy training. Yep. But hypertrophy training needs to be different, so we're gonna take a different strategy. And that brings me to the 3rd point, is hypertrophy training has different principles in strength training. It is moderate intensity, which means it's very hard, right? But it means you can get more reps, right. Okay? That's what I mean by moderate. It doesn't mean don't go to failure, okay? Okay, moderate intensity, higher volume, but the frequency isn't as important, okay? So how do we adjust our training for that? So we're gonna do body split training for hypertrophy. So people think you either need to do total body or body part split. We're gonna do both. Total body for our strength training, body split for our hypertrophy training. So let's say we're working out 3 days a week, right, with weights. So the first day would just be classic push, chest, triceps. The second day, let's do shoulders and back. And the third day, we'll do legs, body split training, right? So let's say today is Monday. So we did our total body stimulus, right? It'd probably be best if today, since we're doing chest and triceps, was maybe more of an easy day, like we do the 3 sets of 3 for bench, because we know we're gonna be doing the hypertrophy later in the day, okay, for chest. And the cool thing about hypertrophy training is you don't need long rest periods, you don't need to overcomplicate it, it doesn't take very long, okay? So we can just dedicate 20 minutes at most at the end of that day for our hypertrophy section, and check that box, because we don't need as much frequency throughout the week to train hypertrophy, right? And the cool thing is the hard sets of push you're gonna do on Wednesday and Friday, that trains hypertrophy a little bit too, right? Okay? Right. So that being said, we're gonna keep it really simple, because that is one of the tenets. keep it simple. Okay, that was gonna be the fourth tenet. We're gonna talk about it now. Keep it simple, all right? So you're gonna pick 2 rep schemes. One is gonna be a rest pause scheme, which we'll go over, and one's just gonna be a simple 3x12. Okay, you don't need to overcomplicate things. So we're gonna pick 2 simple pushing movements, one that focuses on pecs more and one that focuses on triceps more, and we're gonna call it a day. All right, cool.
That's what's so easy to overcomplicate.
Yeah.
So easy on that hypertrophy stuff to start to see a cable machine there. Oh, I should do rope pull. Oh, I should also do that. Oh.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to talk about. I want to save that for the fourth one, but that's exactly what I want to talk about, man. And yeah, so let's knock out some hypertrophy, and then I'll demonstrate the 2 rep schemes you're going to use. So we're going to do 2 sets total.
Sweet.
All right, so we're going to do 2 rep schemes here. So we're going to knock out a set. We're going to start with 3 sets of 12. So just a simple set of 12 reps. Hypertrophy. We're only going to do 2 working sets for this, or I'm sorry, 3 working sets for on the set of 12 days, only 3 working sets, 3 of 12. And the rest periods for these are going to be between 30 seconds and a minute, so much shorter rest periods.
Okay.
Okay.
I like this just to get that
Yeah, just to get
connection a little bit.
Good. So how you do these is your foot's going to be out a little bit. Lift that inside leg off the ground, so you're kind of leaning over that hand. Try to keep your elbow and shoulder stacked over the dumbbell. Go straight down, and then straight up. So these are single arm dips, one of my favorite exercises. And if you want to get a little bit more serratus into it, all you have to do is push the hips forward at the top. There you go. Good. Keep working. And as you get tired, the cool thing is you can just use that leg a little bit more if you need to. Good set, brother. Good set.
Ooh, yeah.
Good set.
Yeah.
Nice.
Keep talking. I like that.
Good. So we can cover another exercise. So let's say you're going to pick 2 exercises. So to keep it simple, let's just pick 3 hypertrophy chest exercises, and you're going to rotate through those. So one day you'll do one, or one week you'll do one, the next week you'll do another, and then you come back. So like a machine press, a dip, a dumbbell incline press, whatever you want. That's going to be your hypertrophy exercise for chest for that training block, right? So today, put on one day to save time, because remember, you're an endurance athlete. You don't have time to go through a dozen different forms of exercise. We're just going to do one hypertrophy chest exercise, because you've already done one strength chest exercise. And now we're going to do one tricep hypertrophy exercise. So whatever rep scheme we used for the chest exercise, we're going to use a different rep scheme for the tricep exercise. And the next week, we're going to reverse it. So if you did 3x12 here, the next week, you're going to do the rest pause scheme. So I'm going to use a tricep exercise to show you the rest pause scheme.
Okay.
All right. So all this is you're going to start with a neutral grip, because it's easier on the elbow, stagger stance here, and just lock it out behind you. If it's a little bit light, we can go up and weight. Just drive it down. Okay. You can let your elbow come away from your side a little bit if you want to, and press down first and then back, because that's going to get the long head a little bit more. Okay. And you don't have to use a band. These are fine with cables too, Mm-hmm. Okay. Now here's the rep scheme. This is rest pause 7. So what you're going to do is do 7 reps. You're going to take a 10-second pause, do 7 more, another 10-second pause, 7 more. So you're going to do 21 total reps. This isn't like 21s like you used to do in high school.
Yes.
It's 21 reps of rest pause, okay? So it's going to take a minute, but you're only going to do 2 sets for the whole day, okay? Okay. All right. So 7 reps. Good. Good. Now make yourself rest. So this is the hard part, because I know you could do more, but take a break. Let the ATP regenerate, because it's going to allow you to do more work overall. So you got about 5 seconds left, and then get right back into it. Short break. Shorter breaks than the strength here. 7 more. Good. Now pronate that palm a little bit on the way back, like that. Palm back. There you go. Other way. Palm down. There you go. Good. Good. 10 more seconds, one more set. The first set is always kind of to gauge where you're at. You kind of make an educated guess, and then you can adjust the weight for the second set. That's the purpose of the second set, other than just more volume. One more. Good job, man. Good job.
Yep.
So the cool thing about hypertrophy is if you do more, if like you really want to focus on more hypertrophy that week, it's not going to take a ton out of you, not on your nervous system at least, especially upper body. So if you're an endurance athlete, that's an endurance event that's mostly lower body based, doing extra hypertrophy week isn't all that bad for you. You know what I mean? Right. So this is kind of the bare minimum, but you know, ideally for hypertrophy, optimal rep ranges per muscle per hypertrophy is about 20 sets per week. So right now, you know, we're only gonna do something in like the 8 to 10 set range. That's kind of minimal effective dose. Right. But if you wanna do optimal, you can add another exercise or some more sets to this and it won't affect you. But I do caution against doing that so much with strength, okay? But if you wanna add more volume with hypertrophy, not a bad thing. Okay. This is kind of the minimal.
Right.
All right.
That's where you can kind of play a little bit and have more fun. If you're enjoying it, you can add a couple more.
Yeah. And during your training block, like let's say as you're closer to competition, you need to focus more energy on your endurance. It's like the whole periodization thing. But let's say you're 12 weeks out and you want a bigger upper body. You focus more on hypertrophy by adding more hypertrophy sets in here. And then as you get closer to competition, you just do the minimal effective dose, or for a week or two, don't do any hypertrophy training at all because it's not gonna really affect you that much, right? So you add more when throughout the periodization. So rather than try to focus everything at once, you pick and choose what you want to emphasize during that training block, all right? So this is just kind of the standard. Cool. Okay, so we're getting into the fourth category for tenets for how hybrid athletes need to train. And the first one was economize your time and energy, okay? And that goes into the second two tips that we had, how to train for strength, which is best with high intensity, high frequency, low volume. The third one is how best to train for hypertrophy, which is moderate intensity, which doesn't mean easy. Frequency isn't as important there, but volume is more important. And then the fourth one is, and we've talked about this already, but keep it simple, okay? So like you brought up a great point and described it very well, so I'll let you handle it. Like how do bodybuilders normally train like on a chest day? Like how do they normally train?
Wanting to get the massive pump and continue to, oh, I did press. Oh, I should probably do fly. Yeah. Oh, if there's another thing, that machine over there looks great, like it'll hit the inside of my chest. Let me go hit that too.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, slippery slope, you've done 12 different variations.
So that gets both into economizing time and energy and also keep it simple.
Yes.
Like you don't need, it's like the law of diminishing returns. For a bodybuilder, if you have nothing else going on in your life, sure, hit every muscle from every possible angle. Why not? Because there really is no upper limit for volume for hypertrophy training. More volume better, but there is diminishing returns, which happens after about 20 sets per week. So you don't need to hit every muscle from every possible angle. All right, and nor should you if you're trying to keep enough time and energy to really get good at your endurance training, which is very important to you.
Yep.
Right, so that pretty much sums it up. Man, you did great today. I was blown away by how good you are at some of this stuff, man. It's really cool.
I needed to hear the simplicity approach of it, and I think that's what all of the internet information of exercise and fitness is paralysis by analysis. You have too much. You have too many different voices, and I think that is so helpful for me to hear, and I know if I'm hearing it and it's impactful, I hope it is for others too, because that's what it is. Keep it simple.
So I'm going to do a written version of this. I'm going to send to you and do your own program. Please. I'm going to put a written version of the strength and hypertrophy in the show notes here. And also in my training app, this summer challenge uses this template to a great extent, where it's 3 total body workouts a week, focused mostly on strength with the body split training built into that, but it is based more for more of a more balanced athletes that's focused more on power and speed. Is not really designed for a hybrid athlete that's more endurance based. So on the other days, you're gonna wanna supplant that with more endurance-based training than what I do in my program. Right. But the the bones of it are in that training app. So
massive for building the base.
That's right.
You're the man, dude.
All right, brother.
Appreciate you.